Hi, I'd like to chat with you for just a few minutes on a topic that I call when preaching the positive isn't love. In these very unusual days, and that is an understatement for sure, both people in the world and that includes the church is under increased and I would call intensifying pressure and stress uh, given the events of this past year and a half with COVID and other issues that are starting to develop and surface. And there's a frustration and an obvious concern on everybody's mind that these trends are not, in fact, alleviating any pressure or things are not likely going to go back to some kind of past normal that we once experienced, but that events seem to be pointing to a much greater intensity of stress and pressure and the loss of rights and different things that if we didn't have the word of God, we really wouldn't know what was happening to the world. But we do have the word of God, and we understand that these very times and these very situations actually have been foretold in the Bible, and we've been given ample warning to watch for these particular days and the particular forces and powers that be in this planet, on this earth, both on the physical realm and in the spiritual realm, are actually going to roll out a certain way. And there is great days of tribulation, if you will, coming that is going to involve both people in the world and the church itself. The concern I have is when I hear pastors who are determined to preach what I would call a friendly, positive message to the point that they even point out that anyone who mentions the more tragic, darker side of what's coming, they brand that as negative. So their philosophy is to preach a positive word that would mean good news and positive things, and to avoid speaking on things, warnings, uh, forecasted problems that are going to come to the world. And the Bible gave us those things to prepare us and to warn us, and so that we can do the same for our neighbors and family and friends, that we can make them aware that the days and events that are coming are not going to be good, but nevertheless, we are to put our trust in God. But these pastors who are bent on not going down that road, in my opinion, are very imbalanced in the message they're sending out to their churches, because the churches are largely not being told what is coming. I've had pastors say to me, and good friends of mine say to me, that, well, Revelations is something that, to be honest with you, is a lot of symbolism and I don't really understand it. And to be honest, I think it would be over the heads of some of my people. So I just don't go there. I've heard another, just recently, a young pastor who said, "Yeah, I speak positive things and I don't dwell on it. Yes, I know what's happening in the world, but I don't want to dwell on those negative things." It's like standing on a road, at the climbing of a hill, and you know that you have information that just over the hill, the big bridge has been washed out and the storm has taken away the bridge, and there's a huge drop off in the road into a rocky river bottom 100 feet deep. And you're just on the other side of the hill, waving with all your might, warning every driver for them to stop, to change where they're going, to slow down, stop, the bridge is out. There is coming a time when you're going to go over this hill and it will be too late for you to make changes because you will be right on it. And at that point, the bridge is gone. So you're standing out there waving, letting people know. Well, according to some of these young pastors, you're preaching a negative message. You're talking about all the catastrophes and the tragedies that can happen if these cars fly over that hill. And we don't want to hear about it. We want a positive message. So, in many cases, as in prophets in the past, when they forecasted unusually tough days, days of tribulation that were coming either to the children of Israel or believers in general, they were not received well. They were not accepted. Their message may have looked negative to some people. And yet, to me, preaching an imbalanced, ongoing message of just love and peace, and I've heard messages. I heard a message not too long ago. A pastor preached and said, it's not going to be that bad. He's a God of peace. Revelations, the book of Revelations is about peace. It's about just him bringing the children of Israel, the house of Israel, back to God. But he is a God of peace. So don't be fearful of what's coming. That is absolutely biblically wrong, given the literal message of the book of Revelations, of Daniel, of their warnings of what's coming, and how we need to be prepared for it, and how we need to prepare the people around us for it. And to me, preparing somebody, warning somebody that the bridge is out, that they need to stop, to me, that is an act of love. To show someone that there are darker days coming, even down to the point of salvation, when you explain to somebody that by rejecting Jesus and his offer of salvation, that there is a dark outcome. That is not a negative message. That is a positive message that reeks with love. When God tries to bring his children back into line and discipline them and make them aware of the fact that Christian living, there is some sacrifices to make. It's not an easy go. That's a message of love. And I will argue with you that the person who does nothing but give those fluffy messages about positivity and inclusiveness and, oh, we're all one big happy family and let's just focus on the happy, let's just focus on what they call the positive. That is not a message of love. That is not, neither would a parent raise a child and do nothing but reward them and praise them and hug them and give them all the positive things they want in their life. That without the discipline, without the boundaries, without the warnings of what could go wrong if poor decisions are made or if certain forecasts are ignored, that's not loving parenting. That's, you've ruined the child because you thought they couldn't handle hard times, they couldn't handle the message, it might have been over their head, it might have been more for them in terms of their understanding, they couldn't have contained it. And that's just not who I am. I'm a positive person, I'm not a negative person. None of that flies. That's the most lame excuse. And when I see pastors who continually, Sunday after Sunday, do nothing but these puffy, fluffy messages of peace and hope and all this, and here we are living literally probably within the decade of most of these events of the tribulation actually coming to pass. And that one's easy to debate. And they're not warning the people. They're not having them understand that our role, we will be here. We will be here for a significant part of that. And that the catching away of the church in the rapture doesn't happen till later in those tribulation years. That for a part of that time, we will be, as Jesus said, we will be here to see the great falling away in the church. We will be here to see the son of perdition. So to me, preaching the positive isn't always love. Preaching the balance, preaching that the bridge is out, there are really dark days coming, and in love, I want you to know that there are some dark days, and this is going to be beyond the physical, the spiritual warfare that's going to happen is going to be huge. And I want you prepared for that. So that's my message for today. I've just seen so many. Um, this one young pastor, he's done it more than once, but he just dismisses end time events or the talk of it or people, concerned about it. He just dismisses it as something he's just not going to bother addressing, largely because I don't think he has any understanding of it. But if he actually studied and looked into it, a true message of love, warning people about the dangers that are coming, the bridge is out. And to the best of my ability, I'm going to engage and spend my energy and resources trying to let friends, family, and everyone who will listen know that there's some dark days coming, and the church is going to be a part of it. And this is how we can prepare ourselves. And to me, if that sounds negative to you, well, my interpretation is it's very positive and it's full of love. So God bless you. Have a great day. Talking to you very soon. Bye bye.